Hi, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to sit down with industry trailblazer Sarah Hoffman of Drybar, who's going to be sharing some insight into the awesome initiative she's taken around customer data and location context to create exceptional customer experiences that extend beyond the salon walls. Quick housekeeping item, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom window. At the end of this presentation, we'll go through the list. With that, I'd like to introduce your hosts. I'm Rachel Wang. I'm a customer success manager in mParticle. mParticle powers the data infrastructure behind Drybar's activations. I work with Drybar and other customers on leveraging their customer data to bring outstanding customer experiences to life. I'm joined here by Carly, a customer success manager, Radar. Radar provides a location context behind Drybar's customers.
Thanks, Rachel. My role at Radar is to support our customers in delivering location-based experiences that help them meet their business goals. I'm super excited to be here with Mutual Radar and mParticle customer Sarah Hoffman, the Chief Marketing Officer at Drybar.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here today as well to talk to you about Drybar and how we're working with mParticle and Radar to elevate our marketing strategy and create VIP experiences for our customers. I wanted to start off by sharing a little bit about myself, as it sets the foundation for how I think about marketing and the way we're approaching data. As you can see from the photos, from the early days, I've always been what we at Drybar like to call a blowout junkie. Especially when I'm traveling, I'll always seek out a blowout in any city or country I'm in. I fully believe in the power of happiness and confidence you feel when your hair looks great, which is what Drybar is all about. Just like you can see with my hair journey, I also have an interesting path on how I arrived at Chief Marketing Officer. My roots started in finance, but I've always had a passion for consumer brands and retail, and saw the opportunity to take what I call a more left brain, right brain approach to marketing and building brands. And I was able to go on and do that at Converse, Cole Haan, and J. Crew before I came to Drybar. To explain this further, I truly believe analytics and brand have to work together. You can't just do one or the other well, and data is what powers that. This is key for brands to stand out and win with consumers everywhere, especially in today's culture and competitive retail landscape. It starts with a focus on understanding your customer and then using that to help inform your experience and execute with the right stack, which we're going to talk about today. So let's chat about Drybar a bit. For those of you who may not be familiar with Drybar, we've become a major disruptor in the hair care and beauty industry in a positive way. We created a whole new category with the blowout business within the retail space. Our founders identified a niche and a need in the beauty industry by listening to women about what they liked and were looking for in their hair experience and why. Blowouts were usually the final step of your cut or color appointment. You left the salon feeling beautiful and confident, and it often wasn't until your next appointment that you had that same feeling. Therefore, Drybar filled that gap. There are three big things that we like to say make up the secret sauce of Drybar and make us like no other brand. First, we've become a cultural icon. We cater to all ages and types of women in hair and focus on being aspirational and accessible to them in every part of their life, whether it's for a big meeting, a night out, your wedding, whatever it might be. You can come to Drybar if you're 7, 17, 37, or even 70 and have an amazing blowout experience. Second, we consider ourselves a beauty visionary. We have a clearly defined market position, which is creating the perfect blowout. And as I said, we created the category and have been consistently delivering an amazing customer experience through our products and services for almost 10 years now. Third, we've also been able to complement and innovate the retail experience we're known for with our customer data. We work hard to understand and build relationships with our customers and use this information to form how we communicate and engage with them in our brand. Here are some of our key milestones to show you how Drybar is what I like to say, changing the world and impacting women's lives everywhere. On the business side, we'll do 2.5 million blowouts this year. We just opened our 136th store and continue to open 20 plus stores a year. For women who don't have a Drybar in their city, you can experience the brand with our award-winning products that can be bought on drybar.com or purchased in any of our world-class retail partners, including Sephora, Ulta, and Nordstrom. We also use our customer data insights to partner with the best of the best for unique media experiences in our stores, including partnerships with Netflix, Universal, and Amazon. But what I have to say I'm most proud of is the amazing community we have built of over 2 million customers, 4,000 stylists, social media followers, and our influencers that engage with us because they love our brand.
You know, I always hear about different industries getting the Drybar treatment, as they reference it. Basically, you're taking something that used to be less accessible and making it an affordable, convenient, luxury experience. We hear pretty much the Drybar of everything these days. You've got Heyday, which is the Drybar of facials, and Within, which is the Drybar of acupuncture. Kind of seeing it across all different industries.
Yeah, and Drybar has incredible brand awareness. If you need a blowout, you're not even thinking of going to a salon, you're going to a Drybar. I mean, even for someone like me who doesn't do their hair that frequently, when I needed to get my hair done for my cousin's wedding, I immediately thought to go to Drybar.
That's awesome to hear, you guys. And Carly, we'll turn you into a blowout junkie before you know it. Before we jump into it, I wanted to touch on what I would call our beginning state of where we were with our marketing before we started to evolve our strategy, which I think helps with some context. You know, as a brand, we have always been unique in that we were already capturing a significant amount of data on our customers from all of the bookings info and appointments in our stores. So for us, this was already a step ahead in that we could understand our customers' behavior from a transaction side and use this in our marketing communications today. However, with that, it was also limited in that we didn't have a full view of all of our engagement. And as a result, we were heavily reliant on using that data in broad email-based messaging, for example, versus basing it on her actual customer journey. So fast forward to today, our imperative with the new strategy was really to create a true customer-centric view, we like to call it, that we could activate across all of our channels in a seamless experience. In order to do that, we needed to build upon that rich data set I mentioned of transactions we already had into a 360 profile for each of our customers, using additional context that would enable us to understand her full journey. We knew what data points we needed to be successful on this, but the big question was how we were going to get there. With mParticle, we were able to bring all the data together we had and make it accessible across the entire organization. We did this by identifying 3 major buckets of data that we wanted to start capturing. First, that you see on the left, we enhanced the current rich store transaction data we currently had with app and web transactions. In the middle there, you see it was also important for us to start capturing information about our customers' hair. To do that, we did a couple of things. First was we converted our existing free Wi-Fi in store into what we call now Dry-Fi, where we now ask our customers a handful of questions at sign up, like our hair type and main hair concerns. We then complemented this with the help of our store teams who are now capturing clienteling info around style and products, so we have more context beyond just the blowout appointment. We then rounded that out with what we knew about our lifestyle using data like the radar location context information. Now that we have this full view, the exciting thing is the data isn't just limited to our marketing initiatives. We can now access it across our company to inform things like product innovation and our real estate selection as well. On top of this, one of the biggest challenges we had going in was getting this data all into a single place and with accurate customer profiles, which mParticle helped us solve for as well. And I'm going to let Rachel talk a little bit more to that.
As Sarah mentioned, mParticle helped the Drybar team harness their data into a single place. For those of you who aren't as familiar with the mParticle platform, it is the customer data platform that serves as a secure foundational data layer across Drybar's business. During onboarding, we were able to collect all 3 categories of data in a seamless, secure way, and then resolve those data sets to the true customer profile. So as Drybar and Sarah's team brings on more data sources, we'll also continue to add those to mParticle and build on the customer profiles we already have. Resolving customer identity across these data sets was something Drybar wasn't able to do historically. And now they know exactly who they're targeting and what that customer's journey with Drybar looks like to date. After creating a complete customer profile for every customer, Drybar could also enrich this data set using one of our out-of-the-box integrations with partners like Radar. Radar is a critical piece of the lifestyle category Sarah mentioned when it comes to contextual data.
Thanks, Rachel. Just for some background on Radar, we're a location context platform. We help marketing and engineering teams build really great location-based app experiences. We have a few what we call context types, which are basically just different ways that Drybar can understand user location and then action it in a meaningful way. So first we have geofences. These are custom regions that can be imported or drawn manually in the dashboard. These are used in scenarios where you have first-party location data. So for Drybar, geofences enable an understanding of when users are entering or exiting Drybar locations, or for when users are nearby these locations. In the event that you'd want to understand user location beyond areas for which you have location data, you can use Places, which is Radar's curated library of chains and categories. Places enables Sarah's team to understand when users are going to the gym and then recommend that they visit a nearby Drybar for a dry style after their workout. Sarah knows that her users tend to work out frequently and belong to gyms, and Places then allows her to send these highly relevant messages at the right moments. We also have Insights, which predicts home and office locations and then can detect when users travel far enough away from these locations to say that they're traveling. This actually powered one of our most successful use cases to date, which Sarah will touch on in a bit, so I won't steal her thunder now. But then finally, our newest context type is called Regions. This is out-of-the-box country, state, DMA, and zip code detection. Regions makes it really easy for Sarah's team to only send notifications to users in areas with Drybar locations to maximize the impact of these communications and then also reduce the clutter in their users' notification centers. But more recently, Sarah's team applied Regions in a pretty cool use case, encouraging users in DMAs that are experiencing bad weather to get their hair done with a compelling offer. This also addressed a business critical issue of cancellations due to the weather. But tactical elements aside, our ultimate goal is to help Sarah and her team be there for their customers and build relationships through excellent contextually aware experiences. Although it's fair to say I'm probably a bit biased on the importance of location. So Sarah, I'd love to hear more about your perspective on location and how that fits into your broader strategy. I'm sure you also evaluated multiple solutions to meet this need, so I'd love to know more about how you ended up picking Radar.
Yeah, great question. So I'd say there's a couple of big things I would highlight. First, it was really important for us to choose a product that was focused on privacy first. You know, with Radar, they don't monetize the data they collect and they don't share it between clients. They also only collect location data for users who have opted into location permissions. And they also make it really easy to delete data for users who choose to exercise their right to be forgotten under GDPR or CCPA. Secondly, I will also highlight that Radar helped us solve for location context data without the cost, complexity, along with the data security risk, which was a really big deal for us as we are a lean team at Drybar. And Carl, as you described, we can tell Radar now which events we're interested in some of the examples you shared. And they're very good about their product quickly separating the signal from the noise and only giving us the data that's relevant and actionable. With all of that, we could have not activated on our bigger strategy without this contextual data. And bringing this data into the mix is also critical to how we now engage our customers. I often describe it to our team here at Drybar as we want to treat her like you treat your best friend. You need to make it accessible and convenient for her to engage in Drybar across her life and wherever she is. We can now customize her experience with our communications, using the right channels with the right messages at the right time, which was truly the unlock for us. Now, with all of this rich data set, along with the infrastructure to leverage that data downstream in our new tech stack, we are truly able to serve up the VIP treatment. And there's 3 primary areas we're activating against to do this. First, we're now complementing our experience we're known for in-store that I spoke about earlier to out of store and beyond the salon walls so that we can be a bigger part of our life, again, both pre and post service. Second, we're focused on keeping our in-store experience relevant and current too, with content aligned with her needs and preferences, as well as more personalized customer service that we can power with insights on the data. Third, we're giving her a voice and letting her know she's a VIP, not just one of many. We're now able to shift from the broad communications I talked about earlier, and we're engaging her in the way she expects us to. Another point I will call out here is that while I may be making it sound easy, we definitely didn't just go from 0 to 100 when we turned this on. We spent a lot of time identifying the use cases up front as part of our strategy development, and we also did a lot of testing, including with messaging with our own employees before we even started activating it with our customers. One area we've seen a lot of traction on that I am really excited about is the first point I talked about on the last page and how we're connecting with her outside of our stores by engaging with her at the right moments with relevant messages.
I think we've all been subject to those irrelevant messages and ads when brands don't really pay attention to the context you're giving them and they really just fall flat. I mean, I've gotten emails for travel destinations that I've already left a week ago. Pinging me ideas for what to do in Seattle a week later is really just irrelevant to me. And then I'm even more likely to disengage from that brand.
Yeah, exactly. This is a big reason why location data can be critical to informing how and when you communicate with your customers. Brands should absolutely be careful not to overwhelm their users. The key is to first define and then capitalize on the moments that matter for maximum impact.
Yes, I completely agree. And with that in mind, as Carly mentioned earlier, we have a very cool use case we have now activated with radar data and the other data we have in mParticle. As she spoke to earlier, we know our customers travel, but we now know that they travel for work and for fun. And we also know that she wants to look her best with great hair, no matter what the occasion might be. We're now taking the location data we're collecting and understanding when she's likely traveling away from home. So for example, if she lands at an airport in a city near a Drybar, we will trigger a personalized push message to encourage her to book while she's in that city. We have seen this has not only been great to drive full price bookings, but is also helping drive awareness in markets where you may not know there is a Drybar, like a Louisville or Milwaukee, on top of our markets where we have our biggest footprint, like New York and LA.
Yeah, this is a great campaign. I think what's truly impressive here is the way we've combined different context types. So places to identify airports, insights to identify traveling users, and then regions to only target DMAs with Drybar locations in a way to ensure that we're messaging to the user at the exact right moment.
The real-time nature of this engagement, I think, is also an important piece to call out, since that messaging references the customer just arriving in a new city. mParticle forwards radar data in real time, so you can serve that message before she's out of the airport.
Yeah, it's truly great, the power of all these different platforms working together. And we knew this was going to be an exciting use case that we identified early on that would truly help to achieve our strategy of personalizing the Drybar experience. But I'm sure you're now all thinking, now that we've activated, what were some of the outcomes we've seen post-launch? The great news is we can start to see the elevated engagement also in our key metrics, as well as some of the markets that I mentioned earlier. Campaigns that we're activating with Radar and mParticle are helping us to increase our conversion on bookings by nearly 3 times, which is a really significant metric for us. And not only are we seeing this incremental gain, but the time to value that we were able to get this campaign up and running using the out-of-box Radar and mParticle integration was another key measure of success for our collective teams. This was also easy to sell into our IT teams for go live. But having said that, the time to value is just one of several learnings we had throughout our process so far. And I wanted to share a few others with all of you. First, I'd say take the time to get know your customers before you embark on a process like this, and use those insights to inform the experience you want them to have and the data you need to action it. When it comes to customer data, and I've learned through multiple experiences, it's also helpful to start with the facts, which is typically found in the transaction data, and then you can complement that with the other data you want to know, versus building data for the sake of having it. Second, data can be overwhelming and even knowing where to start, especially when you're dealing with teams outside of your technology teams. And if you begin with your customer journey, you can then identify the key use cases that support that journey and which data and marketing stack you need to build those. This was helpful for us so that we could activate our new marketing as soon as the stack was in place and start to show the value. And as I mentioned earlier, be open to testing new ideas throughout this. We also learned it's important to exceed customer expectations and build their trust. Focus on being there for them in real time in their lives in a personalized way. These days I've learned customers are sophisticated, and we all know that, and they simply expect more from brands that they engage with digitally. They're almost, I see, resistant to marketing, and especially get turned off when retailers engage with them at the wrong place or at the wrong time. But our learnings weren't all on the execution side. Another key factor in our success was internally aligning all the different Drybar teams. From the beginning, I brought together our IT and store ops teams along with my marketing team, as they were all going to be key stakeholders in the process. This included everything from engaging our teams in designing the marketing strategy, to helping evaluate different partners and providing training for our field teams. We were all in this together. I also created a sizzle reel early on that I shared every chance I got into anyone who would listen, whether at our home office support center here, at board meetings, or when I visited stores out in the field. And this really helped to get people excited and make it relatable to every person's role in the company. I have to say, some of the best ideas I've received for use cases and campaigns have come from outside the marketing team, which really shows how this has become a team sport. This level of collaboration was also imperative for us to move quickly, and we were able to do that in both the development and implementation.
So Sarah, having worked with your technical teams as well as your marketing teams, what was that experience like, getting buy-in and partnering with, the CIO as well as his IT team to get all of this done and done, really well, so you could activate immediately?
Yeah, it was a really good experience for us at Drybar. As a company, we are a very nimble and agile brand. That's that's a lot of the foundation of how we've been able to grow so quickly and continue to grow as we have. We have a very small, lean team. And so in working with them, speaking again to some of the things I mentioned, being able to involve them early on in the process, be part of our strategy, our CIO in particular, as well as our CRO, were very much on board in terms of supporting this effort with the marketing team and making sure we had the resources and were supportive of, new process that we had to put in place, as well as all of the technology work that needed to be done. So we were very collaborative, had a good process around meeting regularly, as well as communicating. And I really think that, as well as an understanding of what putting in place this was going to do for our brand, really were some of the keys to being able to work so well together.
Yeah, I think Carly and I can both attest to this, on pretty much a lot of those implementation calls, it was always representation from marketing as well as the CIO's org, which I think just helped a lot of the questions and answers that usually take a while to ping pong back and forth, but having everyone, align on those calls right up front really helped you, go through development smoothly so you could activate on those use cases.
Yeah, totally. That alignment is key.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. In setting good milestones, having that collaboration and discussion in real time, just like how we were aiming our whole strategy to be, it really were some of the factors in being able to do this on the timeline that we did.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining the call today to learn more about some of these new customer experiences that Drybar is powering with mParticle and Radar. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to ping us at either of these aliases here. We will also be sending out the webinar recording. So if there's any points that you want to go back and kind of listen to again, feel free to. You should see that from us shortly. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.